Oh, whoa. Didn't want none of that. All right. Guess we're going to get into it a little bit. Guess I should start with introducing myself. This is kind of I guess, I guess you would call this a test run. This is like a late night test run. Oh, there my main man from Japan is. What's happening, PJ? Good to see you, brother. You know, I said earlier, I'm gonna tell my picks tonight too. You know, I'm the old school cat, and you know, I got the old school picks. I go get the paper. This is the first time, and I think 30 years, the USA Today did not have, or at least the one I found. I ain't even buy the paper. I just went into the paper and started looking to see where this was, because usually they have two in them. They didn't have one, so I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. So I'll do my breakdown. Oh, but man, let me tell you, my nephew plays. Let me see. My nephew plays. Oops. My nephew plays state. No, no, no. They play the. We don't have districts here. We have sectionals. So he plays in the sectional final, and this was his last game. He had 20 points. He had six rebounds, one assist, one turnover, one block, one or two charges, and two steals. And then the second, another cat had, golly, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Jason Kane, he had, looks like 30. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah. But when you break down like everything he did, like even though he had 28 or 30 points, but he also had fives. He had seven defensive rebounds, two offensive rebounds. So he had nine rebounds, but he had nine turnovers. And that's what he averages. He averages about nine turnovers a game. And as a team, they had 21 turnovers, and they didn't even beat a good team. They beat a mediocre team this game. But overall, not a bad effort. Nephew has gotten better every game. You know, I keep the points and shot charts. Like even like one of his just average games was 2, 4, 6 points, seven rebounds, two assists, and he had a charge. And El Amin's son had 3, 6, 9, 12. There's a 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 14, 18 points. El Amin's son, he had 30 one night, so he's hooping. He's hooping. So you know, I just keep stats. I kind of, but we have a bunch of brothers to see. If you guys go to look up Wyzetta is gonna have the Player of the Year. So that's something to look forward to. Now I'm trying to see how I did my picks. So gotta roll them everywhere. And this is that time of year where uh, my daughter's doing her baton, and so all right. I'm gonna do the late night picks. If anybody sees this, you can say when I did this tonight. Okay, so I'm starting with so okay. Starting with tomorrow's games. Starting with tomorrow's games, because tomorrow are the playing games. Anybody remembers tomorrow are the playing games. In the playing games, I have um, Texas Christian playing Southeast Missouri, and I'm taking Texas Christian CC. I'm taking them. I watched them play. I thought they were a little stronger. So Texas Christian CC, I got them in. And then I have Fairleigh Dickinson beating Texas Southern. I have Pittsburgh beating Mississippi State. And then I have Nevada beating Arizona. And so so that would give the matchup of Alabama would face Texas CC, which of course Alabama would advance. And then I have Alabama. Then we have Maryland playing West Virginia, and I have Maryland advancing, which would put so that would put in that bracket. Then we would have Alabama playing Maryland, and then I've got Alabama going to Louisville. And then on the bottom we have San Diego State playing Charleston, and I have San Diego State out of Charleston, and I have San Diego State beating Charleston. And then I have Virginia beating Fulham. I have Virginia beating San Diego State. So up there I would have Alabama facing Virginia. All right. Then on the lower bracket of that, I have North Carolina State beating Creighton. I have North Carolina State beating Creighton. I have where am I at? Okay, and then I have Baylor beating. I have Baylor beating UNC Santa Barbara, and of course that would put North Carolina State and Baylor. And I'm going to put an upset. I've got NC State beating Baylor there. And then we have Missouri and Utah. Yeah, so we have Missouri and Utah. I have Missouri going there. I have Arizona and Princeton. I've got Arizona beating Princeton. I've got Arizona beating Missouri. And then I have Arizona losing to North Carolina State. And I'm thinking that North Carolina State is going to come out of the South. What's happening, Lorenzo? Just got back from Arizona. That's what we was talking about, going to Arizona. You know, as this wedding thing is coming up, we got to look at where we're going. Hey, Lorenzo, good to see you. Oh, yeah, nephew's been balling. I'm sorry this is so delayed. Oh, thank you, Don Player. Thank you so much. Okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you for using my clips. Feel free. I had him on money line. My parlay was all messed up tonight for college and pro. I got the Longhorns winning it all this year. Okay. So I got North Carolina State coming out of the South. Yep. I got North Carolina State coming out of the South. I've got Purdue facing, so here we go. Purdue is going to beat Fairleigh Dickinson. I've got Memphis beating Florida Atlantic. So we've got Purdue beating Florida Atlantic. And then I've got Duke beating Oral Roberts. I've got Tennessee beating Louisiana. And then I've got Duke beating Tennessee. I've got Purdue beating Duke. And we've got Kentucky against Providence. Got Kentucky against Providence. I got Kentucky. I think that might have been one of my upsets, having Providence beat Kentucky. Then we got Kansas State and Montana State. I've got Kansas State beating Montana State. No, I got Kentucky. I put Kentucky in there. That wasn't my upset. And then I've got Kentucky beating Kansas State. And then I got Michigan State beating USC. Then I've got Marquette beating Vermont. And you know how I feel about Michigan State. I got Michigan State beating Marquette. And that I've got Michigan State, Purdue, and I've got Purdue coming out. Nope, I got Michigan State coming out of. They probably won't. That's just my emotional pick. So breaking down the game, I got Houston beating. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So I got Houston. I've got Houston beating Northern Kentucky. I've got Iowa beating Auburn. I've got Houston beating Iowa. Iowa beating Auburn, Houston beating Miami. I've got Miami. I've got Miami beating Drake. I've got Indiana beating Kent State. I've got Indiana beating Miami to face Houston. I've got Indiana beating Houston. And then I've got Texas beating Colgate. I've got Texas A&M beating. No, I've got Penn State. I've got Penn State beating Texas A&M. Yeah, Penn State beating Texas A&M. Iowa State, Mississippi, Pittsburgh. I got Iowa State, Pittsburgh. Let's see, Iowa State, Pittsburgh. Let's see where I'm at. I'm kind of lost. Okay, so Texas losing to Penn State. I got Penn State there. I've got Iowa State, Texas. Yeah, Penn State there. Iowa State. Yeah, so I've got Indiana to beat Houston, and then I have Indiana facing. No, I'm jumping around. I've got Indiana facing Penn State. Penn State, yeah. So I've got Penn State. Yeah, Penn State coming out there. Yeah, Penn State. It's all Big Ten teams. Penn State ends up beating Houston. I got Penn State. Yeah, I got Penn State beating Texas in the second round. And then finally, I've got Kansas beating Howard. I've got Kansas beating Arkansas. I've got Arkansas beating Illinois. I've got St. Mary's beating Virginia Commonwealth. I've got UConn beating Ionia. I got St. Mary's beating UConn. Texas Christian beating Nevada. Gonzaga beating Grand Canyon. I got Northeastern beating Boise State. I've got UCLA beating Northeastern. I got Gonzaga beating Texas Christian. And then I've got Gonzaga also beating UCLA. And it would put me with, so UCLA, okay, here, and BS would be, who am I missing in BS? BS. Boise State losing. So I end up having UCLA coming out. Yeah. So it'd be UCLA and the Zags, and I got the Zags coming out. So. And overall, I think Indiana. I think Indiana's going to win it overall. Did you see what Texas did to Kansas? Yes, I did. I did see that. I saw that. I did see that. My Battery Sisters Web says next week in Mexico. I'll be there next week. Oh, wow. That's what we was looking at going to Mexico too, but we haven't really said where we're going to go yet. We have so many options, and so we're still, trying to get a place where we're going to have everything. So we're kind of, still setting up. You see how long it took me just to set this up, and this still ain't set up the greatest. It's still, my board's not really set up right. So, yeah, that Jaquez UCLA shot him out the game against Arizona. His shot percentage sucks. Did anybody, hey, Brother Sean, thank you for joining. Did anybody see Golden State, what they did to Golden State last night? Now, remember I talked a couple years ago when they first brought out, when Steph's first year MVP. Do you remember what they did to games? The games were over in the first quarter. And what did we see in the game last night? Golden State was shooting 70% from the field in the first quarter. They were up by, I think it was almost like 28 points in the first quarter. And even though the game got close at the end, this was what they did to those teams. What was that, 15, 16, where the games were over? The games were literally over in the first quarter. And did anybody notice that? But they shot something like 70%. Look up Finest Players. Yeah. So, that game was kind of seeing and being able to recognize the scripts too, and the way the games are going, and at what point the teams forget. Now we just saw Phoenix lose 3 games in a row. They're picking Joker. They got a lot of flack. They got a lot of flack talking about that, Big Perk got him because we know Steve Nash should have never won an MVP. Neither one of them. One year Shaq should have won it. The other year LeBron should have won it. And Perk had a point. They shouldn't have won it. The year Dirk won it, again, shouldn't have won it. Now, people know how I feel about the foreign invasion of players and how they're pumping them up. Will this end in a championship for him? It doesn't seem like it. I mean, these cats ain't getting national work. So, and I think that's why so many people like Chris Paul are still playing. I mean, it's like they almost need the script. They almost need the script. So, look up finest players. Steph told CB3, this ain't 14. Yeah, Perk went in on him. And, JJ Redick, he was trying to be, a Perk hater, Perk defender and everything. So, but yeah, it's still so much to put up in this room. As you see, I didn't want to take this apart. We plan on buying another house in probably 2 years. So I didn't see the point of taking this NordicTrack apart. So it's still here because I really wanted to put my everything over there, but it just this is what worked out. So it's still a few things to find to put everything, places to put everything. So because we put this studio together, but we also put an office together out here. So a lot to do. What did I do with it? It's some bullshit going on. Where's the book? There. It's behind me. Okay. Let me. There we go. All right. It looks like, well, thank you. I'm trying to get it in. And I meditate in here too. So, I've still got plenty of room to meditate. I've still got plenty of room if, other fellas come here and want to join the stream. I've got plenty of room for that as well. I mean, I've got a whole sectional here. This whole wall is a sectional too. So plenty of room in here for that kind of thing. Yeah, so, been busy. And so we're going to if we win, this Friday, we win Saturday. No, we win Friday night, and then we go into the Target Center. So, and there's some players. Let me tell you how this reality is too, though. Couple things that motivate me and get my Kundalini built up. So, one thing. Like just being in the gym, that really inspires me. Being in the gym really inspires me. Yeah, this is the new crib. What we've been here 4 months, 5 months, something like that, 4 or 5 months. So it took a lot to just get to this spot. Oh my goodness, we had to take like 3 loads to the. Now, isn't it funny? We as Americans, or I guess we as humans, we're the only people that pay to keep junk in places. I have 2 storages. Pay to keep stuff that we don't want to throw away, but we don't want in our house. And so we've been going back and forth, taking shit to this storage. We got more stuff to take tomorrow. So, okay. So, well, thank you, Brother Sean. I want to say a couple things about reality that I noticed. So, I was at a game called Totino Grace. And one thing when you get older, the first thing I noticed is that this system seems to run out of names. Really runs out of names. If you look at names, you start seeing names repeating. Now, my name didn't really repeat. Trying to think how long I had my name. Because there's a cat that coaches right now that has my name, other than my son, my junior. But names repeat. But I didn't start seeing my name repeat. This cat's a little older than my son, so probably 87, 88. I was born in 61. I didn't see my name repeat until then. Way too much junk. We never take it with us. Yes, no doubt. So this thing runs out of names, but this thing also runs out of faces. Now I'm about to mention one of my old friends, and I don't know if last time I saw pictures of him, he looked like he had had a stroke. I don't know if he's with us or not, but I can still remember the way this cat shot his jump shot. And also I can remember the way I mean this cat looked when he was young. And then I run into a basketball player, Totino Grace, where it's the same face again. I mean, it's my friend's face. Now, of course, a different model, and the guy was about my friend was probably 6'2", 6'2.5". He's a little taller than me, not much, but a little taller, maybe the same height. But this cat was about 6'3", of course 18, but the same face, same face. So, and I want to give you guys a little sauce. Well, now I'll say this first. And so, I give out so much Kundalini when I'm at games because it just keeps going off, and I just pass it. My daughter played with the orchestra, school orchestra, the junior high and the high school, but it's in the gym. And do you know how charged this gets me being in the gym? And I'm hearing this, the junior high didn't play so well, but the varsity was outstanding. The varsity had like 6, 7. You can be all state in the band. 6, 7 people all stayed in the band. Juniors and seniors all stayed in the band. And so, do you know how charged I get? So I'll tell this story. I don't really say shit for you to believe it or not because I don't really give a damn. But I'll just show you how reality can work. I'm sorry, I'm just fucking around. I'm just fucking around when I probably don't have to fuck around, but I'm just fucking around anyway, just to see how it's all gonna work. All right. Okay, so I don't know what, and I don't know what I had done to deserve what happened, but I was vibrating so high, and as I was saying, I'm the only one that really talks about the energy that it takes to drive. Driving has its own energy in itself. There's an entity that feeds off that, and that's why, for the most part, people are safe driving for the most part, just because. Just as the big building, the picture of the big building in the Chrysler Center where you see the men sitting casually eating lunch and not many men got killed. And the same thing is driving. I mean, people were always getting killed. People wouldn't want to drive, you know. Only real basketball left is high school basketball. Gets me hype. Yeah, I've had fun with the high school basketball too. So I want to say, I'm driving and my daughter's with me. And this is what my son want. Oh, okay, very smooth. And so I'm driving with my daughter, and all of a sudden I realize I'm I don't see I'm not riding in a car anymore. I and my daughter are in free space. And it took me a couple microseconds to really realize that I am moving in free space without a goddamn car. And as I said before, no one else could probably see this. My daughter couldn't even comprehend this. And to show you how bad I am, something that I remembered. And I don't know if y'all know or not, but it doesn't really matter to me. But one thing remember is if there's a little matter around, you can recreate matter. And so, as I say, even though the car, basically, I vibrated out of the car and was just moving through space time without that, and my daughter was in conjunction with me, there was still matter around me. And so, instead of panicking and, breaking all this, I just like reconfigured the matter and brought the car back together. So, uh, oh, okay. Oh, okay. So that was a trying time, which wants me to. I want to lead. I want to lead into the next thing is this book right here. Now, this is really aimed at quantum of consciousness. Hey, buddy, I've said before, if you really think If you really think you want to shit on the Book of the Dead and say it takes everything to try to do that before you pass, yeah. What about these sisters here, buddy? Because you read this, they want to know. They come visit to see who reads this. And could you possibly use this, or this scares you? Let me tell you that some of this supernatural shit is the most horrible shit you'd ever want to imagine. I mean, some of these trials, some of these realities you go into. I know everybody talks about, oh, the light and it felt so good. Yeah, some of this shit is horrible. I mean, some of this shit makes you not want to go into this stuff. Some of the beatdown, some of the suffering is so grotesque that most people wouldn't even want to suffer like that. I mean, most people wouldn't even want this. And that's one thing I like about my fiance. She's like, despite all this, let me tell you, it's like one instance where they done murked all my family. All my family. Like, I see it all. And it ain't just like they line everybody up. No, it's like just the way time goes, and they murk them all. And then they take me in, and and I'm sitting there. And there's a couple cues to this reality, but I'm just sitting there. And the reality is witnessing, am I losing my mind? What is it going to do? And at times, I've said before, and this goes into the Book of Dead, and it goes into these sisters here too. You make people agreeable to what you're trying to do. What is your intention of gathering this information? How do you use this information? Because this proves that there is definitely more than just astro traveling. And in this book, it also proves you don't need all this blood. Some of the stuff, yeah. These chicks marry. I mean, they do rituals where there's an agreement. And there's agreement. They sacrifice. They get this entity the things, and they let the entity, in some instances, go inside the groom. And the groom will have sex. The groom will have sex. As the entity possessed. And he's in the bridal chamber. That ain't what it's all about, but that's part of the possibilities. So quantum science is for you. This is a University of Wisconsin book, buddy. See what you think about this. See, this is the problem. It's a lot of gods. It's a lot of gods, but it ain't no fun. How can you be a god and you sitting on an island all the time, sitting in the island, you're sitting out all the greenage, or how can you be a god and you just sit at home? If you have it figured out and you sit at home, you ain't got it figured out. And if you think life is being on some island and everything ever so beautiful and lovely, that ain't it either. What is the character Boudini say in the movie Ali? Life is a motherfucker. And that's what a god should face. A god should face the motherfucker. Because if you got to figure it out and you can't walk amongst the people, what have you figured out? If you being a god means you got to hide from everybody, what are you creating? What are you creating? But you got to go to battle. Oh yeah. Well, my motto is, you got to fight even though you want to cry. That's my motto. I've had other visions where Not far where I am right now, I saw the whole neighborhood bombed. I mean, literally bombed. Like somebody had been bombing this area, and I'm with two of my children, and we got guns and packs and backpacks, and we kind of going away from the damage. So, I've had that too. But definitely, and that's why you you get these people that talk about they want to circle some shit, and then they want to call some shit in there. They think whatever the lock they have is gonna work. And sometimes that shit will backfire on your ass if you're not ready. You'll bring some shit up that you ain't ready for, and then you're encircled with that shit. And if you really haven't practiced your binding spell, how you gonna bind something? If you ain't even got anything, the force field to show up, like, yeah, you can't get me, yeah, you up here, but you're not gonna be able to gore my eyes out. I mean, that's kind of how you gotta move, make the unagreeable agreeable. And then learn how to not be swayed. Learn your own mind, your own thoughts. I mean, it's funny. Driving is a great place where you get all kind of thoughts. Oh, the accident, the accident. I've seen so many accidents lately. That even makes sense. And the weather, weather's been up here. It's 27 degrees up here. We had 4 inches of snow a couple days ago. We're supposed to get more snow. I don't remember so many blizzards. We're in the top 10. We've had almost 80 inches of snow this winter here. So they better not be talking that drought shit this summer. We've had so much snow. But even though you have it figured out, you still learn to have fun. Because the more you have it figured out, um, you learn patience. You learn patience. Yeah, the snow needs to go. Yeah, we're supposed to get snow Thursday and Friday. So we'll see. But as you get older, you should learn patience. You should be more conservative. And I mean, not conservative voting, but I mean just more conservative, more cautious. Not scared, but cautious. You should learn to be not as spontaneous. I mean, this is something else that you should be aware of, not just, you kind of being able to wait and see. Wait and see. And these are some things maturity should give you. Sinuses. But it shows I'm for real. And I have fun. And I show my love. I help those who should be helped. And so I say that because I hope everyone feels that kind of love and compassion for people. Because society, and especially young people, can easily have it burned out. Like I almost grabbed this poster. I took a small poster from Creed. And I'll tell you the beautiful thing about Creed, and this is no shame to anyone, please don't forgive me, but it was like melanated people every scene. There was not any Europeans that made major decisions in Creed. It was all melanated people. And it was like melanated people every scene. And that was well done. I mean, it was the best fighting, I thought. I thought it was the best fighting most recently, as far as how to set up the punches. I mean, they were really good. The long jab, they really emphasized that, and they were really able to make it look really good. But looking at the screen and looking for an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, is just melanated people making all the decisions. And in the end, if people notice when George Floyd, George Floyd is a famous actor now. That George Floyd phenotype is a famous actor. And when he lost, he's in the locker room by himself. Like even this test seconds was like, "Hey, champ, we get with you." So that was interesting. Think about depression and what someone goes through, especially with suicide. Uh, Gosh, I almost released this video. Let me tell you, we've dealt with a suicide down here lately. Not my personal family, but one of my mother's friends. So we had a guy down here to just kind of, I'll show you how suicide will play into that, Sean. We had a jockey down here. Now, people don't realize that down here we have the Mononapi people, Lakotas. They have a major casino, couple casinos, but not far. We have a horse track. You know, Piccadilly Downs, I think is it's called. So we have major horse racing here. Um, just last week, and maybe I'll release the video, but just last week, this jockey, this cat is like 4'8", 4'9", but the guy is the most successful jockey at Piccadilly Downs, and this guy made $7 million in his career, and I would say he wasn't very old. My oldest is 33. I forget. I might have to share. I might have to share the link because I copied the link, and I might have to share the link. But anyway, uh, this guy killed himself. This jockey that had won $7 million in his career. I'm pretty sure he's no older than. I think he was barely. He was 31 or 32. Killed himself. Now let me tell you, the one part of him killing himself that um, that brings depression and everything is CTE, because that's what they think. They think that this jockey had CTE. And so with CTE, this the depression, see people depression is like you're in a hole, and at one point you kind of leave yourself a little, like you dig a hole and you leave a little hand grip to get out the hole. You know, little shovel, a little way to get out the hole. Well, a lot of times the depression kicks in, and the walls that were once hard that let you allow you to lower yourself and you thought you could escape become all slippery around you. And sometimes it's like the hole and the fog, it's hard to get out of. And some people feel useless. My sinus are acting up too. Just think it was 73 out in Arizona, below temps back in Ohio. Yes, 27 here. And so, hey, Jay Charles, thank you. And so this guy was suffering CTE, and so CTE mixed with depression. Now everyone's not going to have CTE, but again, it's a gloom. It is a gloom that's hard to get out of, and it's and I seeing a lot of what I do and what I would say is the ways to get out of it have to be practiced every day. There's no short answer to get out of that. Crystals and things can help, but these kind of things have to be done every day. I mean, it's like it has to be when you fight something like this, it has to be a full regimen of how you fight this. It's like when you sleep, you if you know I know a lot of people, but um, the weather, but if you sleep and you have a humidifier, you put essential oils in it while you sleep. Bath bombs are popular, but when you take a shower, you have a type of bath bomb in there. You have to learn to, even though you have that gloom inside of your heart, you have to learn that those other things that you try to lead up to when you try to face yourself, because these scents and crystals and things can kind of try to help the burden in some point. But these are things that you have to continue to do. So there's really no quick answer on how to improve. It's just, and hope is a funny thing, because hope is not always the go-to answer, because sometimes hope can also be a trick. Hope can be a type of false rope, you know. It can be a false rope. So a lot of times the answer just ain't hope. But the answer is a spark inside of you of a possibility. And you have to make more and more of those sparks of possibility add up. And so there's no quick answer. It's just you try to bring the chips back one at a time. That's all. The whole room and even me kind of look yellow. Let's see. Put some light on me. A little more. Lift the hat up. Lift the hat up a little bit. There we go. I have someone close that's going through depression and suicide. Yeah. Now, speaking of this jockey, you know, all the times he was thrown off the horse gave him CTE. And a lot of people don't think about that. But if you're only 4'10", 4'11", and you know how big, you know, these horses are 21, 22 hands high. You know, these horses are big. And so, but it's just, one day at a time. Find little sparks. That's the only thing I could suggest is just find little sparks. Wow, okay. 25. Yeah, let me see what it is here. Here it's 28. 28. But it feels like it's been cold all day. It's sunny, but it's been cold. And like I don't remember a winter I've been through so many storms. Like we've had like 2 or 3 blizzards. Like we had a blizzard last week. Another blizzard where we got what was it, 14 inches of snow, something like that, a week or so ago. Hey, Dr. Sinister, thank you. If I could speak to my 30-year-old self, what advice would you give to yourself? That's a good one because that was a big turning point in my life. Patience, patience, because see, sometimes this reality will give you so much so fast, so young, that the reality really, really, really enjoys watching you lose everything. Because when things come so fast to you and you get the things so young, like when I was 20, I bought my first house at 25, maybe. And then we had, shortly had my first child. And so, we had a career. My first wife had a career. We had a young child, and it's just all that still wasn't enough. And I look back, it's like, why at 30 did I feel like I needed so many women? I mean, that's one thing I would just look at. It's like, why did I feel the need for that? But one thing I would tell myself that the working out never went away. That's one thing I love about my 30-year-old self is I worked out. Even on my toughest days, I always had working out, and that for me was playing basketball. And even on my toughest days, you know, I still would play basketball no matter what I did, what else I did. Fucking snorting lines all night, sitting at a trap house all night. When it was time to go to the game, play my semi-pro games, I still did that. And that gave me a lifelong experience. But yeah, I would tell my 30-year-old self to, it's enough. It's like even at that age, it didn't even seem like money was enough. And at times I had more than enough. Because really what it is you get to a point where you can buy anything you want. You can go anywhere you want. You have your house, you have your family. And yet we still find ourselves that not being enough. It's tough for us. And so that's what I would say is patience too. My first wife, for me not going as far in sports as I would have liked to go, I took it out on my first wife. I verbally abused her, not realizing that that's what was bothering me. And that's what caused that behavior. And that made me resent her, not realizing it wasn't, it was not her fault. And not realizing that's what I was doing. So I think all men feel that way about women. It's our natural instinct to want more women, but it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it. Now, I love all my children. You know, I have let's see, four mothers, two, five, six, seven. Four mothers, eight children altogether. Still have an 11-year-old, 16-year-old. Oh, my 16-year-old daughter. Wow. Uh, going to a great school. Proud of her. It's getting that time. So, but yeah, it's not worth it. It's. I mean, each his own. It's not for everybody, but I think what most people don't understand is one day you're gonna be 60, and I've watched 60-year-old men still try to trick with women, chase women around. The one cat that some cats got to buy women, and when I mean buy women, they got to keep buying shit. It's like they went to women, but they got to keep buying shit. They ain't gonna be with them. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not generous, but to keep a relationship going, I'm just buying shit. Nah, that's not happening. But I guess like the song says, just be thankful for what you got, and that's part of being here now. That's part of maturity, is being thankful for what I had. Love looking at my son and being thankful to be there because it's that's it's like when my daughter comes every other weekend, it changes the house, just her energy here. And my daughter's 11, so she's at the point where she don't really come down where we sit. And we all think that we buy these devices and everything. We feel that that's part of our giving. So, well, I didn't really mean to go long. I do got a busy day tomorrow. Kind of wanted to get them picks out, so I'm picking Gonzaga to win it this year, even though they normally don't like to have new teams win. Uh, no, I think IU. Yeah, IU. Excuse me, Indiana. I think Indiana has. I would say Indiana or North Carolina State. I think both of them have a good shot to win it all. But thank you guys. Matter of fact, have people want to come in and do things with me. PJ, I'm sure he'll come in, and we can chop it. So yeah, I just want to get this going. I'm start doing. I'm gonna do a couple shows now. So as I get it more together, you see it slowly, and I have a lot to say, and hmm, a lot I'll try to share. You know, uh, well, I try to be, and I don't need to say anything or say anything to shock people or have shock views. I told them one thing about I brought up this book, but I'll tell you what this book helped me do, and I said this before, and I said this in videos back in the summertime. I was able to the first time I was able to possess something, it was an animal. I was able to possess a lion. Well, one time I was able to go back to the timeline and I was actually able to possess Kennedy. And I've talked about that before. I was either walking in the White House or walking at the Capitol. I'm not sure. But I was czarred in this dude. I mean, I was literally czarred in this dude. And that's what it is. It's like if you ever saw the movie Being John Malkovich, I was Kennedy. I had like I don't know. It's almost like when you fly fish. That's kind of how possessing comes. It's almost like you're in a tunnel or in a passageway, and it's almost like you're fly fishing to try to possess people. It's almost like that because you can miss. But there's one time where I didn't miss, and I was looking through his eyes, walking, and so. Um, and without this book, I could have never even realized that something like that's possible because there's something else other than the astral zone. I don't want to tell you all that. Don't say when they say astral realm is just that's it. No, it's that's part of it. And another part I'll say this too is when you get meditating deep enough, you get to seeing the aliens. I'll say this: you get to seeing them. If anyone y'all really been in the astral zone, you getting eyes looking back at you because they want to know who's coming in where. and what possibilities and what powers. It's powers too. But there's more to it than that. And these sisters, whatever these sisters can do, these sisters have figured out. It's another way to move. But yeah, if you wanna meditate and you wanna see aliens, you can meditate and see that kind of shit. It ain't them green eye shit. No, you get in that shit and you start seeing eyes back. Sometime when you meditate, as soon as you close your eyes, you open your eyes and it's eyes looking right at you. So now I want to make this before I stop. I want to say this in concluding. There is a reason that, like, if some people say they can't get anything going when they meditate, well, that is one reason why when I used to stop, I used to always play the cymbals. When you meditate, you have to create energy. You have to create almost a spin. Um, there are high vibrational things you can do, but sound seems to be one of the easiest ways that I can tell for people or help people say that they can't make anything happen. Sound will keep energy around you. Now I've showed, I don't know if I can reach them. This plays what's called the perfect fifth. It's the 136 hertz, but it's called the perfect fifth. And then, okay, that's coming through. Something like this around you will make things move around you. So keep that in mind. You need something to make the energy around you because it can be stale. Like a lot of times, if you light a candle or you burn some incense, that's cool because that starts it. That's clearing. Candles and incense are going to start clearing, but you have to activate. I guess that's the word I was not putting in there. You have to find a way to activate. And that's what these sounds are. These sounds are a way for you to activate. So the candles, incense, clearing, and then the sounds will activate. And once you get that part, it might be a little easier for you. And so, not very expensive. These were $12 about 6-7 years ago. Not very expensive. I need another one of these, and this is $40. I probably paid $35 for it, but so if you haven't been able to get things moving, that could be why. Now I'm not gonna say that that's permanently why, but it could be. Uh, okay, so these are some things that are bothering you, or these are some reasons why you haven't went as far. This you can try this to put some sound around you. I would say sounds on the phone aren't bad. They aren't bad. It's just, electronics are everywhere. Electronics are everywhere. And this is my meditation room. Electronics are everywhere. But I'm still able to meditate. I keep a lot of this big block of shungite. So, but, 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 uh, but try that. You can try nature sounds on your phone. You can try that. And they're not bad. My only thing is with sounds on the phone is if something feels foreign in there, something is moving odd, move from that sound. Or if the sound itself is giving you a weird feeling, some sounds could be loaded. So, that's why making your own sounds. I have a drum behind me. You can drum a little bit. That's why the boom, 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 that goes. Oh yeah, this is vibrational tool. They check your reflexes, but this is also a healing tool. And I send some energy to my heart. I'll hit it and send energy to my lungs. Shoot, Send it to my third eye. I mean, this is a healing tool. I've got different sizes one, but I need another one like this. I got to order up another one like this. But yeah. And as I said before, you look at my old videos, the things I would do before with the singing bowls. This is something I do by myself. But yeah, I am going to have to go. So, thank you. I'm going to be coming on more and more frequently once I get everything figured out. My board is still not 100%. We got the sound right, but we don't have the rest of it up. But yeah. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Look forward to putting more out, especially as these games are coming. As I said before, the deaths are coming with Bud Grant. That's why I think the Timberwolves might have a shot this year, because Bud Grant died and Big Spencer, Meldon Spencer, whatever Spencer's name was, but he died too. He was the second pick. Oh, the second year the Timberwolves were in operation. That big guy from Louisville, Sheldon. Spencer Sheldon, I think was his name. Spencer Sheldon. Yeah. Oh, Liquid Fire. What's happening? Thank you. So, well, thank you. I'm trying to get it better. So, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your main man from Japan, Big Pontiac. And till we meet again, say less.